Back on KNEB.TV to check sports here on a Thursday. Just a couple of quick local notes and then going to get it turned over to a fellow Rural Radio Network sports broadcaster for more on the Husker spring football game. These local notes just to keep you up to date on where things stand for weekend events with this latest round of weather pushing through. They waited till this morning, but obviously the Scottsbluff and Torrington soccer matches for today were postponed. No makeup date for those has been announced at this time. There are makeup dates for those two track and field meets that have been postponed. Burns will host theirs on Monday starting at 1. Alliance then on Tuesday hosting their invite. Field events kick things off. That'll get started at 10:30 in the morning. Cougar baseball and softball also made adjustments to their schedule for the weekend and the week. Yesterday's baseball games with Otero were postponed. They're still trying to work on some possible makeup dates for those. Cougar baseball, they were hoping to play the Mesa State Club team at home on Saturday at Cleveland Field. Too much snow, too much weather. Those games have been canceled. And Cougar softball moved their midweek games with Trinidad State to next Tuesday at Volunteer Field. They will be on the road this weekend for contests both days, Saturday and Sunday, doubleheaders at McCook. The spring football game for the Huskers coming up on Saturday. It's time for a preview with KRVN's Jayson Jorgesen and HuskerOnline.com's Sean Callahan.
Well, today we are joined by the publisher of HuskerOnline.com, Sean Callahan, as we preview this weekend's Nebraska Red-White game. Sean, thanks a lot for the time.
Hey, we got football back. It's always a good time. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we do have football back. The second spring under Scott Frost has pretty much wrapped up here at Will with the spring game on Saturday. What's your overall take of how this spring has gone?
You know, Jason, it's really just been a business as usual deal for Nebraska. I think when you get into a year two and you have an established quarterback like Adrian Martinez and guys like J.D. Spielman coming back, Muhammad Berry on the defense, it just has a feel of these guys know what they're doing. They know what to expect. The weight training program is not new anymore. They know the offense. They know the defense. So it's been generally a pretty boring spring, and I think that's how any coach would like to have it. They don't want a lot of drama and hoopla coming out of spring, and I feel like that's how this spring has been for Nebraska, just business as usual. We know what to expect, and let's get out there and get the work done.
When Coach Frost and his assistants have been in front of the media, it sounds like they've been pretty pleased with what they've seen, and it also sounds like the team has been able to improve its consistency level.
Yeah, and I think the defense is the one unit that's made a big jump. Offense has got some questions still on the O-line. You know, Wan'Dale Robinson has not practiced much. Maurice Washington has been out for most of the spring. J.D. Spielman's been rested. So you take away those key weapons, this offense with just Adrian Martinez is just naturally not going to be as good. But I think the defense has taken a step forward. The addition of Darian Daniels, that is a guy I think when you go to this game on Saturday, most people are going to notice him. He's bigger and stronger looking than all the guys Nebraska has on their defensive line. And he's been a real impact guy this spring on the defensive line there at the nose guard position.
Today we're joined by Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline.com, as we preview the Red-White game. Sean, you kind of broke down some of the position groups a little bit. Which position group do you think maybe has improved the most this spring?
Well, yeah, the defensive line is where I'd start. I think that group with DeAndre Thomas now up to 300 pounds, the addition of Darian Daniels, the Davis brothers, Damian Daniels, then the brother of Darian. You got two sets of brothers on that defensive line and Ben Stilley. I'm looking for a lot out of that group. On the offensive side of the ball, I don't know if there's one group that I would say is the most improved because there's still a lot of questions with newcomers and guys out right now. But I am intrigued with some of these wide receivers like Andre Hunt, Jerron Woodyard, Mike Williams, if they can kind of take that next step. I know they've had their moments this spring. Tight end is really solid. They have everybody back, and they're all going to be back another year after this year. All the tight ends a year ago were freshmen and sophomores. Now they're sophomores and juniors. So there's a lot to work with at that tight end position. And then you got the quarterbacks. I mean, I think there's just more depth at the quarterback position. You don't have to worry about a guy probably transferring this season. It's not like Jebbia and O'Brien here last spring. You got guys like Noah Vedral and Andrew Bunch. And then I think Luke McCaffrey will surprise a lot of people. His knowledge and his command of the offense, to me, has been one of the more impressive things this spring for Nebraska, especially for a kid that still should be in high school.
Right. Now, Adrian Martinez was so good last year. Where are they looking to him to maybe take the next step to go from good to great as a sophomore?
Well, I think some of the things that jumped out, I know checkdowns. He struggled at times, and I think a lot of young quarterbacks do this, to dump the ball off to your running back in a check down situation. Instead, he would run those a lot of times. I think they want him to improve in the check downs, throwing balls away. I think that got better as the year went on, and just not trying to force things. But, there's a lot there to like. I think you could argue for a freshman, he might have had the best season we've seen for a true freshman at Nebraska. I guess him and Tommy Frazier are really the only quarterbacks that have played significantly as true freshmen when you study a lot. Adrian Martinez and Tommy Armstrong were redshirt freshmen. So it's pretty unique, but for what he did, I think especially with the completion percentage, number 2 all time last year as a true freshman, that should get anyone's attention. He was completing a lot of these key Big Ten games, over 70-75% of his passes. And if you can do that in this system, it's going to be pretty efficient.
Now, the red-white game is always a great atmosphere. The football program usually brings in some recruits, but it sounds like new basketball coach Fred Hoiberg is also going to try to use that to his advantage this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy weekend for basketball, and why not? Nebraska has to fill probably 4 to 5 more scholarships for next season. So whether that's Division I transfers or high school prospects, JUCO prospects, Fred Hoiberg and his guys are going to have a number of guys in, probably 5, 6, 7 different recruits in, and you're going to have a huge advantage to have a sold-out spring game to give these guys at least a taste of what the Nebraska atmosphere is like here, because it's just like that for basketball. We know Nebraska's ranked 11th right now in the country in hoops attendance, so you're going to be able to show these recruits really what a Husker atmosphere is all about.
Should be a lot of fun. As always, we appreciate your time.
Hey, Jason, thanks a lot. Enjoy the game on Saturday.
And that was Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline.com. I'm Jayson Jorgesen.
Big thanks to both Jayson and Sean for our red-white preview.